Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you so very, very much. We have a great segment. I'm going to make this short and sweet. And to my super chat, thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams. The chances of a special counsel have increased exponentially. Now, the media is going to say, well, the House GOP unceremoniously ended its investigations. They found nothing as usual. The House GOP was somewhat inept. Some of them tried. Jim Jordan, Mark Meadows, Bob Goodlatte, Louis Gohmert. They tried. They did not have. They had Sessions, who was an abomination. You have to wonder about the people who are telling you to trust Sessions. Huber was an abomination. He was a head fake, according to Paul Sperry. So they're trying to say, well, the House GOP unceremoniously ended its investigation. So they guess there was nothing there. Now the Democrats are going to control the House. Well, that's not accurate. So those reports are not accurate. Actually, what's taking place, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty amazing. Greg H., thank you. What's taking place is absolutely amazing. Press 1 if you want to see a special counsel. I'm up early, Jack Gold. Press 1 if you want to see a special counsel into the Clinton email investigation. Afro Jack, thank you. Press 1 if you want to see a Clinton email special counsel, a special counsel also for the FBI fabrication and setup. Okay. We are now closer to a special counsel against Hillary Clinton. Uno, Ramon Cepeda, hello. We are now closer to an FBI, to an actual special counsel than ever. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to see this channel. You want to watch this channel. You want to be subscribed to this channel because from day one, I've been saying she's going to get indicted, Clinton, and she will get indicted. I've had hit piece after hit piece after hit piece written about me in Daily Beast, Raw Story, lesser known, insignificant, irrelevant publications. And people could not stand that I was one of the few voices saying, look, she's going to get indicted. Now, I will read you the exact letter. Congress of the United States, House of Representatives, December 28th, 2018. The Honorable Mitch McConnell, Majority Leader, Senate, United States Senate. The Honorable Matthew Whitaker, Acting Attorney General. They're actually writing the letter to Mitch McConnell. Ladies and gentlemen, they're actually writing the letter to Mitch McConnell. That should tell you something. It's not just because the Senate Judiciary Committee can form a special counsel with the help of the Justice Department. Well, the Justice Department has to form the special counsel, but the political will can come from the Senate Judiciary. The Republicans gained in the Senate. They lost the House, but the House was practically irrelevant in terms of Rod Rosenstein completely blocking everything. Now, why do you think Rod Rosenstein is still there? I believe it's because he struck a deal with Trump. I don't think Trump's going to go into 2019 having gotten kicked in the tuchus for 2 years because Sessions and Huber and Rosenstein were out to get him. Without a special counsel in 2019, I think there's going to be, I strongly believe there's going to be a special counsel in 2019. I can't say 100%. But check this out. The Honorable Mitch McConnell, the Honorable Matthew Whitaker, Acting Attorney General, U.S. Department of Justice, the Honorable Michael E. Horowitz, Inspector General. So you can just, Horowitz isn't going to do anything. It's really, but Whitaker and McConnell. Whitaker and McConnell are Noble 333. Thank you. 3333. Thank you. Ronald, I'm getting over a cold. Yes, but Lynn, that doesn't mean that any of them have to do with Clinton. But Noble3333, thank you still very, very much. They're not going to indict Clinton without some kind of new investigation or an investigation that's ongoing that we don't know of, or that we know of, but comes out with some kind of information. So there aren't going to be military tribunals. There aren't going to be mass arrests. That's nonsense. Take it from somebody whose channel would benefit greatly if that was the case. Do you want to know? I would be at 400,000 subs if there was like military tribunals and mass arrests. Trust me. I'm telling you something. I stand to benefit if that nonsense is true. There's not. What will happen is you'll very likely get people around Clinton getting indicted and then Clinton getting indicted. Or in a very rare occasion, Clinton just getting indicted because she actually committed crimes and there's evidence. But there needs to be some mechanism. There needs to be some political will and mechanism. So a special counsel here, they formally ask, here's the bottom line, and I'll read you the entire thing. They formally ask, thank you, Eric H526. They formally ask Matthew Whitaker and Mitch McConnell for a special counsel. Now I'm going to read this whole thing right now. Forgive me if I don't interact, but I'm just reading the whole thing. Dear Majority Leader McConnell, Attorney General Whitaker, and Inspector General Horowitz, during 2016, the Justice Department and Federal Bureau of Investigation had the candidate of one major political party under investigation for potential criminal misconduct. Within a month, and concluded that investigation, launched a counterintelligence investigation into the campaign of another political party candidate. Serious questions and concerns have been raised about the thoroughness and impartiality of these investigations, as well as investigative techniques used and not used. For instance, some have wondered why the existence of the investigation into Secretary Clinton's alleged mishandling of classified information was made public, but the counterintelligence investigation into alleged coordination between some members of the Trump campaign and Russia was not made public. Moreover, with respect to the Clinton investigation, non-charging decisions were made and announced by the FBI, not the prosecutors at Main Justice, in an unprecedented way, while some of the agents and attorneys assigned to work on the investigation into potential coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia had bias, if not animus, toward the very candidate whose campaign they were assigned to dispassionately investigate. The ramifications of these decisions made and not made, the bias of some agents and attorneys involved, and the seemingly disparate treatment of these investigations received have continued to reverberate into 2017, 2018, and potentially beyond. The questions and concerns noted above prompted the DOJ Inspector General to undertake a comprehensive review of official investigative actions. These actions and concerns have also prompted the House Committees on Judiciary and Oversight and Government Reform to jointly investigate decisions made and not made by the FBI and DOJ in 2016 and beyond in fulfillment of Congress's constitutionally mandated responsibility to provide oversight. In March of 2018, the committees called for then Attorney General Jeff Sessions to appoint a special counsel specifically to review decisions made and not made by the Department of Justice and the FBI in 2016, 2017, including but not limited to evidence of bias by any employee or agent of the DOJ, FBI, or other agencies involved in the investigations, the decision to charge or not to charge, and whether those decisions were made consistent with the applicable facts, the applicable law, and traditional investigative and prosecutorial policies and procedures, and whether the FISA process employed in the fall of 2016 was appropriate and devoid of extraneous influence. Then Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who you should never have trusted, did not appoint a special counsel, but recognizing the significance of the issues raised and the need for confidence in the institutions involved, did appoint United States Attorney General John Huber to act as an independent U.S. attorney to review the agency's actions. It is our understanding U.S. Attorney Huber has been engaged in this review since the appointment. During our joint investigation, House investigators reviewed, so nothing more about Huber because he didn't do anything. During our joint investigation, House investigators reviewed thousands of documents and conducted transcribed interviews of investigative and prosecutorial decision makers at the FBI and DOJ and elsewhere. Those interviewed revealed troubling facts which exacerbated our initial questions and concerns. Some of these concerns are set forth below. With regard to the Clinton investigation, it is clear the Bureau and Department read elements into the gross negligence statute. That's right, baby. U.S. Code 793F, which plainly do not exist in the text of the statute. To be more precise, investigators read into the statute higher level of scienter coupled with knowledge and intent, although the investigators could never clearly describe what that particular intent was supposed to be. Equally troubling, there is little to no evidence investigators made any effort to identify evidence that could have addressed the very elements they believed were missing. There is no indication those questions were even asked of witnesses that would have potentially had access to Secretary Clinton's state of mind, and no evidence she herself was asked to address questions centered on consciousness of guilt or criminal intent. So they're going hard, and Matthew Whitaker has stated all of these things before he was even Attorney General. To be clear, neither of us is in a position, so this is written by Gowdy and Goodlatte. To be clear, neither of us is in a position to know whether an investigation centered on the actual elements of the offense, addressing appropriate questions to witnesses with knowledge, or waiting until the end of the interview process, as opposed to May 2016, to draw conclusions, would have resulted in a chargeable or prosecutable case. They're being generous now. They know very well. What we can say with confidence is the manner in which this investigation was conducted ensures we may never know the answers to those seminal questions. At the end of the Clinton investigation, then Director James Comey chose to depart from longstanding FBI policy and appropriated from the Department of Justice the final decision on whether to charge and prosecute. Comey, as the FBI director, was the chief investigator, not the prosecutor, and should have presented the relevant evidence to the Department of Justice. The reasons he cited, which in his judgment necessitated the extraordinary departure from Department of Justice policy, chiefly his concern about the objectivity of the Department of Justice, is not remedied by the route he took. While he contends he contemplated calling for the appointment of a special counsel to ameliorate his concerns, the Inspector General and our committees found no evidence to support any level of consciousness in calling for an independent review by a special counsel. Also, James Baker, his legal counsel, this is a side note, wanted to indict Clinton. So the you-know-what is hitting the fan, ladies and gentlemen. Director Comey stated that no reasonable prosecutor would have brought the case against Secretary Clinton, and that his decision not to was unanimous among those involved. Not true. FBI General Counsel James Baker, however, initially did believe the case could be made from an evidentiary standpoint, and multiple witnesses testified to the committee. The FBI's decision not to recommend charges was not unanimous. James Baker believed it. Okay, James Baker wanted to indict Clinton. General Counsel Baker also testified following the termination of Director Comey. There were discussions among senior FBI and DOJ officials about President Trump's fitness for office, invoking the 25th Amendment, and the prospect of wearing a recording or transmitting device during conversations with the president. Baker relayed comments attributed to Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein and as relayed to him by then acting Attorney General Andrew McCabe and FBI Attorney Lisa Page. Wow. The committees arranged to interview Rosenstein on his and other important issues in a skiff with a transcript made available. Regrettably, that interview did not take place. There were questions Rosenstein alone can answer. While the allegations are serious, his denial was forceful. The question deserved to be asked, as Rosenstein deserves the chance to respond. The committees also have concerns about not only Director Comey's decision to appropriate charging and prosecutorial decisions, making away from the Department of Justice, but also drafting what was tantamount to an exoneration memo months before all witnesses were interviewed. Moreover, the committees were concerned with what was in earlier drafts of those memos, but later edited out. For instance, documents provided to the committee suggest foreign actors obtained access to Clinton's emails, including at least one email classified secret. Well, of course. All of our emails, the top secret, the special access program intelligence, they all have it. So I've been saying this since 2015. There is also concern foreign actors infiltrate the private email system of private email system. Okay, there's also, for instance, documents provided to committees. There's also concern foreign actors infiltrated the private email accounts of some Clinton staffers. This is significant not only because it was included, then excluded from the exoneration memo, but also because, if true, access by foreign entities goes directly to elements of the offense Comey concluded were missing from the case. Wow. You're talking about lawyers, ladies and gentlemen. You're talking about lawyers that are now scrutinizing lawyers scrutinizing other lawyers. Okay. Let's continue. This is page 3 of 7, or page 4 of 7 we're going on. The bias of both named and unnamed FBI employees have been widely reported. So this is everything that I've been talking about, everything that I've been saying, everything that we've been discussing for 2 years now, ladies and gentlemen. I will eventually be vindicated. I will eventually be vindicated like I was when Clinton lost. And people went after me, and people went after me. Even people who would stand to benefit from Clinton getting indicted have gone after me, which is hilarious because it just shows that they worship Clinton. The bias of both named and unnamed FBI employees has been widely reported. Special counsel Robert Mueller removed Deputy Assistant Director Peter Strzok from his investigation immediately upon learning of texts and emails exhibiting manifest bias against Donald Trump. Likewise, Director Comey testified he very likely would have removed Strzok from the Clinton investigation had he known about the bias or perception of bias. But Strzok was removed from the investigation well into 2017. This was after he participated heavily in the Clinton investigation, after he interviewed Clinton, after he initiated the Russia investigation, after he promised to stop Trump from becoming president. And after he openly discussed an insurance policy. If Trump won. After he called Trump destabilizing, after he worked on the FISA application, after he interviewed Michael Flynn. Wow. Wow. The bias existed at each stage. It was just not discovered. It is not the discovery of bias that is destruction, that is so destructive to fairness. It is the existence of it. Wow. Wow. How an agent with this level of bias could have been centrally involved at each stage of the 3 major investigations needs to be fully understood so it can be fully avoided and mitigated. Among other issues of concerns, the decision to replace the president with senior government officials in Comey's exoneration statement, and then to remove altogether information showing President Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton exchanged email communications on a private email server. I've been saying this for 2 years. So too was the decision to alert defense counsel to questions that would be asked of witnesses in the Clinton investigation, the unprecedented decision to allow a fact witness who happens to be an attorney to present during Clinton's interview. I wrote a Daily Caller article on this. Cheryl Mills should never have been given. I wrote a Daily Caller article on this. Cheryl Mills should never have been given attorney-client privilege with Clinton. She was one of the people who helped Clinton with the whole thing. She told the Reddit Stone tier to delete emails. Questions and the scope of the questions were provided to witnesses in the Clinton investigation ahead of time. And not only was she afforded the right to have counsel, she had counsel who were also, in fact, witnesses present. Her counsel were witnesses. Her attorneys deleted emails. The 33,000 emails were deleted by 3 attorneys. Cheryl Mills being one of them. In stark contrast, the FBI discouraged Michael Flynn from having an attorney present and broke from protocol and not notifying the DOJ and White House counsel. The FBI mid-year investigative team was delayed in evaluating Anthony Weiner's laptop, which delayed Comey's notice to Congress by weeks, placing that notice even closer to the date of the election, coupling the decision to make her investigation publicly known with the decision to speak freely and in detail on July 5th, 2016, about someone who was not going to be charged. Coupled with the delays in processing the Weiner computer, coupled with the decision to publicly notify Congress her investigation had been reopened, led to a belief among some Americans that in the investigation and its aftermath cost her the 2016 general election. Defensive briefings provided by the FBI to the 2016 candidates indicate differences between how the FBI treated former Secretary Clinton and how they treated then candidate Trump. Leaks jeopardize the fairness of investigations and the confidence Americans can have in the objectivity of those conducting the investigations. It should be better understood what contact the FBI or DOJ had with the media and whether these contacts were authorized by leaders of the Bureau and the department. The committees remain concerned about how derogatory information about candidate Trump was accessed by the FBI, the sourcing of such information, the vetting of such information. This is the Steele dossier, and the government reliance on its court pleadings. The Steele dossier, by the way, should never have been used by any law enforcement agency. It's rubbish. This is in addition to overreaching concerns about the FISA process and what obligation exists to place a court on notice of informant of source or source issues and the divulging of biased information. These are but some of the issues raised and concerns raised by our investigation. Each of these concerns is but an illustration of our larger objective, which is a fair, even-handed, objective review of the decisions made and not made in 2016, 2017. So public confidence can be restored or enhanced in institutions we rely so heavily upon. Contrary to Democratic media claims, there has been no effort to discredit the special counsel. Here we go. Quite the opposite. Whatever product is produced by a special counsel must be trusted by Americans, and that requires asking tough but fair questions about investigative techniques, both employed and not employed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very important. This is very, very important. Since our joint investigation began, the DOJ-IG released a report on the first installment of its investigation. A review of various actions by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and Department of Justice in advance of the 2016 election, the DOJ-IG launched additional investigations as a result of the questionable conduct and decision-making discovered. During its initial investigation, the DOJ-IG continues to review potential misconduct committed in 2016-2017, including allegations the FISA process was abused. Regrettably, our joint investigation was impacted by institutional protectionism on the part of the DOJ and FBI. Trust sessions. For example, the DOJ, okay, ladies and gentlemen, for example, the agencies delayed the production of relevant documents and failed to provide witnesses in a timely manner. How could you trust the DOJ, trust Sessions, when obviously every person from Tom Fitton to Paul Sperry to John Solomon was saying the DOJ under Sessions was actively blocking, actively hurting, actively doing everything possible to protect Clinton and harm Trump? How could you trust Sessions? It's so dumb. DOJ continues to refuse to classify. They're still doing it even with Whitaker. DOJ continues to refuse to declassify documents necessary to the investigation, despite the president's request that documents be declassified. Additionally, the Office of Special Counsel has cited an ongoing investigation to deny or delay congressional access to relevant information, and in one instance, retrieved documents provided to Congress, arguing the documents were improvidently produced in the first instance. So they just hide. It's an ongoing investigation. Our committees have assiduously avoided interfering with the original criminal, counterintelligence, administrative, or judicial reviews of conduct engaged in 2016 and 2017. Nevertheless, confidence in venerable institutions like the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation must be restored so the public can trust these institutions to make decisions solely on the facts and the law and totally devoid of political bias or consideration. Our belief remains a special counsel should be appointed to investigate not Huber, okay? Stop trusting people you shouldn't trust. Trust is earned, not from an 8chan message board, my God almighty. If you have to give your trust because an 8chan message board from imaginary intel officers are telling you to trust Huber, trust Sessions, when even this final letter is saying, my God almighty, Sessions was horrendous. Our belief remains a special counsel should be appointed to investigate not only the decisions made and not made during the pendency of these investigations, but also the disparate ways these two investigations or seemingly conducted. While Congress does not have the power to appoint a special counsel, Congress does have the power to continue to investigate. And it is our belief, based on the facts uncovered, thus warrant continued oversight by the legislative branch and the Inspector General. We invite your attention to the transcripts of witness testimony, and we encourage you to continue to investigate these matters consistent with your jurisdiction, so the final definitive accounting can be made to the American people. Our belief remains a special counsel should be appointed. Our belief remains a special counsel should be appointed. Sincerely, Bob Goodlatte, Chairman, Committee on the Judiciary; Trey Gowdy, Chairman, Committee on Oversight and Government Reform; CC, Honorable Donald J. Trump, President of the United States; CC, Honorable Christopher Wray; John Huber, Chuck Grassley, Lindsey Graham, Ron Johnson, Richard Burr, Gerald Nadler, Elijah Cummings, Devin Nunes, Doug Collins, Jim Jordan. So that letter was epic. That letter was epic. That letter was epic and asks for Johnny Five. Eventually, the truth of Clinton's and government treasonous crimes would be brought to light. Yep, I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're getting a link to Clinton indictments, you're not. Clinton has not been indicted yet. Trust me. My channel will go to like 300,000 when Clinton gets indicted. Bob Goodlatte and Trey Gowdy wrote the letter. All in gun, I'm sure. I agree with you. Tina Bobina, you look good in blue. Your left gun is huge. I didn't get notification. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Tina Bobina. Thank you. Thank you, Tina Bobina. Happy New Year to everyone. I think, ladies and gentlemen, that this year is going to be just a home run. I think, not in my jammies, it's just a shirt. I think a special counsel now, beginning of the year, would be exactly what Trump needs. We need Shirtgate. We need a special counsel. 2019, ladies and gentlemen, 2019. And when you look at everything that was discussed in that letter to the Attorney General, it's everything that I talk about every day. It's everything I talk about every day. They didn't even interview all the witnesses. They didn't ask Hillary Clinton how she transferred top secret intelligence. That is the question that I can't really put my finger on why they're not asking, other than it embarrasses the government. So I have no clue. I have no clue why they're not asking. Terry D, thank you. I have no clue. The Yahtzee. I have no clue why nobody asks. Huber won't be doing anything but playing golf. Huber has done nothing. He's been an abomination. The best thing would be for Huber to just leave and do something else with his life. They never asked Hillary Clinton or Brian Pagliano or any other witness how she transferred top secret intelligence from Cybernet, JWICS, SCIFs, JWICS, and other secure locations within the United States government. onto her server. They never asked that. They never, ever asked that. And the reason they never asked that is because it almost certainly would embarrass the United States government beyond belief and show the extent of the problems. If we of the dilemma of the cybersecurity nightmare. This is a cybersecurity nightmare. Swivel hips. This is a cybersecurity nightmare of biblical proportions. She transferred top secret intelligence outside of the United States government. This is like Aldrich Ames and Robert Hansen would have had a field day. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if they could use a server outside of the United States government that even the president didn't know of, that was sanctioned by their agencies? Could you imagine? Robert Hansen was an FBI trader. Aldrich Ames was a CIA trader. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if you were a traitor to a country and you're just like, oh, what are you doing? Well, this is my server. Oh, who are you contacting? No, it's my business. You can't touch my server. You have no right to look at my emails. Give me back my chat, RCJ. Brennan was one on TV. Will told us Obama. How can we believe anything anymore? Give me back my chat, ICJ. Thank you. Thank you. I think that, well, Brennan lied under oath. Yeah. I just think that a special counsel, a Clinton email special counsel / Mueller probe, investigate Mueller. I mean, you have Rudy Giuliani saying, wait, we should investigate Mueller. This has been so one-sided. This has been so incredibly unfair. It has been so one-sided. Johnny 5. Not offended you didn't read all my comments. I didn't see, I was reading, I didn't see. All I ask is that when the truth comes out about how bad it really is, you remember the rest of what I said. It is so much worse. Johnny 5. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. No, and I agree. Some things I can't say on YouTube. I agree. Johnny 5, the worst foreign policy. Obama was the worst president on foreign policy. His foreign policy was failure after failure after failure. Failure after failure after failure. Destruction of Libya, just failed states left and right. And I agree with you. Well, we spent $500 million. We spent $500 million for here. So Johnny 5, this kind of touches upon what you were saying, but also in a different light. Obama abandons $500 million program to train rebels. Okay, you want to know how many were trained? 500 million. Obama will end $500 million program. Okay, $500 million. You want to know how many rebels were trained? This is in a country now. Now Trump is bringing home Americans from. It was something like less than 20, something insane like that. It was just ridiculous. Pentagon wasted $500 million, all to oust a dictator, and it didn't. And Libya, it didn't work. So there you go. It's like he destroyed a country. He destroyed here. The original $500 million training program began in the spring of 2015 with talks of fielding a force of 5,000 rebels, but due to desertions and attacks by other rebel groups, produced only 5 trained fighters. Hello, hello. 5 trained fighters. Okay, Obama spent 100 million per rebel. 100 million per rebel. This is in Syria. 100 million per rebel. They spent 500 million to make a force of 5,000. Wow. Wow. He spent 500 million to. It's just amazing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, I mean, you ask yourself, this is the guy who gets the Nobel Prize. It's just unbelievable. And I agree with you. It's much worse. 100 million. 500 million. The 500 million was meant for a 5,000 man force. Johnny Five didn't both Gaddafi trade oil? That's I'm not going to even say that's not a factor. I'm not that actually I can see being a big issue as to what's going on. But I don't know much about it, so I'm not going to poo-poo it, so to speak. Johnny Five, I do agree with you. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. But I mean, $500 million. Hello, McFly. Hello, 500 million. And could you imagine if Trump did that? 500 million for 5. Oh my God, he's creating chaos and havoc. Oh my God, he's wasting money. So they're asking for a special counsel. Now, if you look at the fake news, freedom fighter, yeah, I agree with you. Me too. That slowly got me towards the Trump train. Slowly, I was like, what? My initial reaction, freedom fighter, was in 2014. I was like, Obama's the best. Obama's the best. Obama's the best. What? He's sending Americans? And actually, like sending Americans to Afghanistan, that was like a wake up call. But then I was like, oh, maybe there's a good reason. This is really bad. It took me a long time to get away from the cult. Then I'm like, no. We can't do this. We can't do this. He's continuing Bush's policies beyond, you know. And then it was Clinton who would have made Obama look like, Noam Chomsky. Oh, I blame society. I agree. But $500 million though for 5 people, that's, gosh. Bush was the worst. Bush was the worst president. And when people say, well, Obama was better than Bush, I was like, well, that's not really. Then you have people who I can't stand these people. They're like, oh yeah, fighting the oligarchy, claim to be anti-war, and they're actually voting Democrat. They're telling people to vote Democrat, and Max Boot is a Democrat. So you're telling people to vote Democrat, knowing very well that Max Boot and Bill Kristol and all the neoconservatives are Democrats who want interventions, who want regime change. Yet they're telling people to vote. Juanito Moon, the sun is rising here in K-Town, Korean barbecue on Olympic. Nice. Juanito Moon, Koreatown is awesome. It is awesome. So, yep. Freedom fighter. Yep. That's one of the things I loved about Obama. I thought that, and then one of the things I loved about Bernie, and then, you know, nothing, nothing. But Trump is bringing home Americans from battle. Trump is doing what I wanted Obama, what I wanted Bernie Sanders to do, and he's not getting any credit for it. That's why I say he has to flip the script. Ladies and gentlemen, there should have been a special counsel from Sessions. Huber is not a special counsel. He's just a person that is supposed to appease everyone. Thank you, Freedom Fighter. Thank you. Huber is just a person that was there to appease people. A special counsel is what you need. You need the opposite of Mueller. And I don't care if Mueller is still there. Appoint the special counsel. Because then what's Mueller going to do? Just fabricate things? Like, you can't. There is no collusion. Exactly. Captain Bone Spurs. There is no collusion. There's never been any collusion. There's nothing. There's never been any collusion. And ladies and gentlemen, there was Star Wars, then there was The Empire Strikes Back. This has to be The Empire Strikes Back. There has to be an equilibrium here. There's too much on one side. There's too much hysteria from nonsense because they know they're petrified. If Trump were to unleash the full weight of the United States government, Johnny Five, Reagan was the last POTUS since Trump not to be wholly controlled by deep state. I agree with you. I agree with you to an extent. Iran-Contra was pretty bad, but I do agree generally. Well, Reagan brought home troops from Beirut, so that is important. Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Clinton. Damn, Trump is like the kid who throws a stick into a bike spot. Yep. Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Clinton. That right there says everything you need to know about American politics for what? 30 years. No, almost 30 years. That says everything you need to know. And I do believe what Bush did with Desert Storm, it was an actual decisive military victory. The military aspect, the military victory, what the unintended and unfortunate consequence was to remove the ghosts of Vietnam from American consciousness. Wait, Juanito Moon. Maybe Beto Irish is 1,000th Latino. That's good. Yeah. He thinks he's Latino because his name is Beto. That is a big, that's a big middle finger to the ID politics people. Because they're like, hey, there's a white guy who could put, his name Beto. Well, we have the best of both worlds, the Democrats say. No, I agree with you, Johnny Five. I mean, Reagan, one thing that Ford, Carter, and Reagan, Reagan really, he didn't try to intervene in a counterinsurgency war. And that's the thing. Iran-Contra was bad. But then you got Clinton, who made the most peculiar decisions in terms of foreign policy. Christopher Hitchens couldn't stop talking about how much he hated Bill Clinton. And they said that he obsessed over Bill Clinton. Christopher Hitchens, Johnny Five, regarding Christopher Hitchens on Bill Clinton foreign policy. He wrote the book No One Left to Lie to. And the triangulations of William Jefferson Clinton. I love Hitchens. He wasn't right about Iraq, but I love him. I'm trying to find. Well, that's, I guess, another day. There's like a lot that he, freedom fighter, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Keep fighting. We need you, freedom fighter. Thank you so much. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to you. And thank you so very much for watching. Thank you so very much for watching. And I need you and everyone else here. These super chats and these, live chats, these live streams are great because there's interaction and it's like we're going through all of this together. So thank you very much, Freedom Fighter. Thank you. Johnny 5, thank you. Yeah, Trump. I just worry about, give me back my chat, LCJ. Thank you. I just worry. Thank you as always for watching. Thank you. Conservative to the core. Yeah, I just have a little, actually I'm getting better. I'm getting over a cold. Thank you, conservative to the core. Eric H526, thank you for everything, Eric H526. You're a great person, and you're just awesome. So yeah, real quickly, I'm going to actually end my unhappy relationship with Twitter, and it'll be after I tell off a bunch of people. Peter Sprague, thank you. It'll be after I tell off a bunch of people on Twitter, which will be hilarious because they suspended me for 7 days. I think the end of 7 days is what? This coming Tuesday. So if you follow me on Twitter, DM me your email address and I'll keep you updated on, different, I'll keep you updated on different, uploads and books I'm writing and articles I write. Terry D, thank you very much. Thank you. Dave Whalen, thank you. Yeah. So I'm actually going to leave Twitter because it's just an unhealthy place. So this guy who wrote a hit piece on me yet again, it's like his 8th hit piece on me on an insignificant publication. I won't even tell you which one. It's not even important enough to talk about. I told him off, and then of course I get suspended. Meanwhile, he calls me a lunatic, and he doesn't get suspended. It's like first grade stuff. And then I thought to myself, do I even need Twitter? Why do I? How does it help my writing? How does it help my YouTube channel? How does it help my books? How does it help anything? It just provides more. It just provides a way to. It gives negativity. It provides another source of stress. So, Johnny 5, The Wizard of Oz, The Man Behind the Curtain is such an appropriate analogy for our government. 2016 should have been Trump versus Sanders. Few wanted Clinton and no one wanted Bush. I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. I do agree with you on that, Johnny 5. Yeah. Yeah. I think the man behind the curtain is just, I think ultimately the way power is wielded in our government, lobbyists are very important to wielding power. And I think that the most important decisions politicians make are based on their reelection. They just want to get reelected. So Then you have lobbyists, you know, which is funny because they're like, with Ro Khanna, there's this whole thing. I exposed that like 2 years ago. They're like, well, he doesn't take PACs. Yeah, but he took money from individuals who are billionaires. So it's like you're not going to get away from money. The whole thing is no corporate donors. Well, yeah, then you get individual donors. You're not going to get away from money in politics. I think that ultimately you just have to go and choose the politicians that you know won't let you down. And Trump has not let me down in terms of, I knew that he was independent minded in terms of foreign policy, and he's bringing home Americans from devastating conflicts. He's not spending $500 million for 5 rebels. Johnny Five, yeah. I think, though, that Sanders would have won at that moment in time. I'm glad that Trump won. I'm glad that I have to preface or, caveat the secret spaceship. Thank you. I'm glad that Trump won. I'm really glad that Trump won because now we have Americans coming back home. You know, but this is special counsel time, and I'm telling you, I think that special counsel time. I think that special counsel, if it started, my God, my God, I mean, it would be unbelievable. It would be just game over, and I think we're closer ever to that being started. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much to my super chat, Johnny Five. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. God bless. I will see you later today. And 2019 is going to be great, everyone. Thank you.